Good morning, everybody, and greetings from beautiful Las Vegas and the Epiphany Episcopal Church here in Las Vegas. Today, I'm reminded about a bumper sticker that used to be around 30 years ago, which I always thought was cute. It said, "Jesus is coming." And then on the line below it, like in parentheses, it said, "Look busy." And this is a particularly Western thought, that as Westerners, we're often overly invested in this idea that being busy, doing something, is always better than doing nothing. And another expression that sort of supports that our great grandparents might have told us: idle hands are the devil's workshop. And but like every adage, there's usually some truth to them. They're around for a reason. It is a good idea to use the energy that God gave us and the wisdom, and then after we've discerned, hopefully, and have some idea about what God might want us to be doing and not doing, then we do it. And we do it without procrastinating and get right on it because it needs to be done. But this sounds easy, but it's actually a lot of work to figure out what to do, when to do it, where to do it, and to even sort of to pretend we know why we're doing it. Because we never know with precision God's will. And because of that, this underlines the utter necessity of being prayerful. Because no straight, simple philosophy of how to live will always answer the more complex questions of life. Even the smartest guy who ever lived, Jesus, sometimes had very different responses to similar challenges or problems. I was just speaking with Father Rick today, and we talked about the value sometimes of inaction, and that sometimes courage will require us counterintuitively to do almost nothing. For this reason, when Jesus was on the cross, which he correctly thought was his purpose to be there, even when he was taunted, "Why don't you come down and save yourself?" by the Roman soldiers, he actually could have done that. A guy who can turn water into wine, and when a guy who dies, temples rumble and mountains shake, a guy with that much power who's raised other people from the dead could easily just jump down off the cross and walked away without interference. I think we can be confident about that. But he chose not to. God's will at that time was not look busy. Idle hands, just taking the insults and the foolishness and the hatred and the sins of the world around him and taking them upon him, was actually the thing to do. Now, at the same time, this same Jesus, when he saw how the temple was being run by robbers and thieves, as he referred to them, he premeditatedly wove a thick rope out of thinner cords and went in and beat the living heck out of these vendors, these godless people, because he said that these vendors, these money-grubbing thieves at the temple, were blocking people's ability to pray. And that is true how it works. You have to protect the spirit and the sanctity of places of prayer. You have to work hard. Jesus rolled up his sleeves and did the hard job of kicking some backside and making sure that the temple remained a pure, safe place. Of course, in the end, they said, "No, you can't. We're going to have to crucify you for that." Everybody knows that selling turtle doves is more important than proclaiming the goodness of God. And church institutions, especially the leadership, will often make mistakes like these. But we have to be the better person, the stronger person, and decide what God's will is. I see Father Rick doing this all the time, constantly trying to figure out what is the best thing. How do we best get out the gospel of Jesus, regardless of what the rest of the world is doing? There's always that option, just like Jesus had, to do the right thing. But what I want to remind everybody is the right thing is sometimes hard to figure out. And if you're the kind of person that always says, "Okay, let's go out and do something," maybe the invitation for you in the life of Jesus is to sometimes ask yourself, would there be a godly value in inaction? If you're an always let's run out the door and do stuff kind of person, this could actually maybe be a step in deepening your faith. And conversely, if you're the kind of person that's forever saying, I can do that tomorrow. I'm going to go to a 12-step meeting and discuss my gambling addiction next month, and that'll get my kids off my back. Or that's when I'm going to decide to eat more vegetables, or go for a walk, and all that. Use the pool that's in that's in my condominium community. All these things that are options for us. We might want, if we're the kind of person that's thinking tomorrow, next week, or never, it could be that our great-grandparents are still saying to us, idle hands are the devil's workshop. And there might not be any time like the present than to jump on and do the things that you know God wants you to do. So it's both ways. It's a via media message. If you're constantly busy, maybe slow down. If you're not doing much, speed it up. I think that's what the message is from God for all of us today. All right, thanks. Love you. Bye-bye.